Pop up on that sound the beats, the largest. We stepping up, this is my mother, playing them in the party. Regardless.
Big changes are coming for the volleyball team.
Plus, lacrosse season is officially in swing. Thank you for joining us. This is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Slam! Done! Oh, that's a poster.
Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Good evening, everyone. I'm Layla Hudson, joined by Brian Wilson. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing great. What a show we have for everybody, even some volleyball news.
Yes, he is right. Longtime volleyball head coach Ryan Tice is suddenly out as a head coach. Tice now leaves Marquette for University of Florida, where he will be named head coach. Tice served as an assistant at Florida in 2006.
The Madison native spent 11 seasons as head coach at Marquette and finishes his tenure with a 258-87 record.
He also finishes with 3 Big East regular season titles and 3 Sweet 16 appearances.
And now we welcome our sports director, Matt Bolts from Pfizer Forum, to preview men's basketball game versus Seton Hall and break down the Tice news.
Glad to have you on, Matt.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Starting with Tice, just how big of a loss is this for the Golden Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, losing Ryan Tice, the big loss for Marquette, man. Tice recorded 258 wins in his time with Marquette. He had a 748 winning percentage, which was the top-ranked winning percentage in the history of Marquette volleyball. He's from Madison. You know, he was local. He had deep recruiting roots in this state. He had a real tie to the state of Wisconsin and everything that was going on here. He led Marquette to 3 Big East regular season championships. He won 141 and went 30. Or he won 154 games in conference play and only lost 31. They made the Sweet 16 twice. They made, multiple tournament runs, 11 seasons at the helm, obviously. But ultimately, the resources, the tradition of Florida was kind of too much to turn down. His salary is probably going to accelerate here. There's a lot more resources put into Florida volleyball. His wife, Jen, was one of the best players in Florida history. And on top of that, he served as assistant coach there for 2 years as well, from 2006 to 2007. So he has ties, and this makes sense. It's not an out-of-the-blue hire. This has obviously been something that, has been thought about in the past. And when Mary Wise stepped down, they decided to reach out to him, and, the two sides were able to come to a deal. So it's a late hire, probably catches a lot of people off guard, but that's the way these things go sometimes.
Where does Marquette go from here? They are set to lose key members, including Achante, Fody, Hamilton, and now Tice.
Yeah, I mean, for Marquette, obviously the transfer portal closed in early January, so that they already brought in multiple transfers. They've got some of their first years already on campus. There are some that are set to come in the fall. But yeah, I mean, that's the question I think everybody's asking. Where does Marquette go from here? Obviously, it all starts with hiring a new coach. They said a national search for a new head coach is going to happen. What's kind of, unfortunate for them about this is that this is so late in the cycle that a lot of head coaching candidates have already found a home, for lack of a better term. So it's really late in the cycle, but it all starts with finding a coach. When they find a coach, then ultimately, you can figure out who are we going to retain, what players are going to leave. So ultimately, the transfer portal, this will be interesting because players from Florida and Marquette can now leave, due to a coaching change. But everything else seems like it's set in stone around the country, so this will definitely be interesting. But yeah, it all starts with finding a head coach first.
Sure. Moving on to basketball, Marquette is 1-3 over their past 4 games. What's been the biggest issue for the Golden Eagles recently?
Marquette has not been shooting the ball that well. And what's interesting is they've generated a lot of open shots. You look at the numbers, they're predictive analytics, now, albeit they're analytics, right? Like, analytics only tell so much of the story. But what they do tell you in the end is that Marquette is generating itself open looks. And they're open looks that they've hit in the past. Cam Jones is the guy that's over 36% for his career from beyond the arc. He has not shot the ball well during Big East play. Same goes for David Joppa, another above 35% shooter for his career. He has not shot the ball as well. These guys are exerting so much energy on defense, and it feels like their legs might be going a little bit. That's why this week off feels like it was so crucial for them. It came at such a great time because these guys can get healthy and they can get that week, and maybe they can get their legs under themselves a little more. But ultimately for me, it really comes down to, generating open shots and making those open shots. They shot a season low 16% last week. So they just have to be better open shots. They've been rebounding. They've been playing defense. It really just comes down to generating open shots for me.
How can Marquette continue to build off momentum against Seton Hall?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but make shots. I mean, you got to make your threes. Yes, they shot 16%, but they found a way against the ball, right? So they have to find a way to continue to knock down shots. But also, when those shots don't go down, you got to continue to attack the board. In 2 of their last 3 games, they've had more than 15 offensive rebounds. So what does that tell you? That tells you when they're missing their shots, they're attacking the glass hard, they're getting the rebound. They were 15-2 in second chance points against DePaul. That's ultimately what won that game. That was what won them that game. They destroyed them on the O glass, and they were able to get those second chance points and score. That was one thing Shaka Smart told us after the Creighton game. was they didn't score enough off those 18 offensive rebounds that they got from all their missed threes. So even if the shots aren't falling, they got to continue to hit the glass. And of course, everybody knows about their defense, about the deflections. They got to continue to play aggressive defense. It's been a week. They've been off. They should be fresh. So good defense mixed with shot making and attacking the glass ultimately should be the formula for them to get back on track here as we head into March.
And who do you think is going to help Marquette establish momentum and step up as the MVP tonight?
You got to look at a guy like Chase Ross. He has not been scoring nearly as much. He's had 15, 20-point performances consistently throughout the year, but the past couple of games he's been struggling. In Omaha, he picked up 3 first-half fouls. That definitely threw his confidence off. It's hard to play with fouls early on, and Chase is a very aggressive defender. Marquette plays a very take chance kind of style defense, and sometimes you're going to pick up fouls 1, 2 in the matter of a couple minutes when that happens. So he's got to stay out of foul trouble. If Marquette's able to get Chase Ross going offensively, combined with his defensive intensity already, his prowess, it's very difficult to stop him because everyone knows what Cam can do. Everyone knows what kind of leader Stevie's been this year. So really, for me, it comes down to Chase Ross. Can Marquette get him going? Can they get him a couple open threes, get him going in transition? He's one of the scariest dudes in America to see in transition. So if Marquette can get him going, I think they're going to be scary. And if he gets going tonight, Marquette should have no issue coming away against Seton Hall with the win.
What about a final score prediction? Who comes out on top in this Big East battle between Marquette and Seton Hall?
I got Marquette scoring 67, and I got Seton Hall scoring 50. Seton Hall is a pretty solid defensive team. They just upset UConn this past weekend. They were down 7 points with 30 seconds to play, and they found a way. They're scrappy. They've been, it's been rough for them throughout conference play, but, they're not a team that's to be taken lightly. Nobody is in Big East play. So, especially coming off a week off. So, 67-50 Marquette, but don't take Seton Hall for granted. They're a scrappy defensive team.
Well, thank you for your time, Matt. That's all from us for now.
Thank you, guys.
After the win last week versus DePaul, the men's basketball team climb up the rankings.
They go up 2 spots to find themselves now ranked at 16 in the latest AP poll.
Marquette still sits behind Creighton and St. John's in the Big East standings.
From basketball to lacrosse, the women's lacrosse team welcomes the Louisville Cardinals to the Dome.
This intense matchup starts with 3 unanswered Marquette goals, 2 from junior attacker Tess Osborne.
But the Cards are quick and answer the call, netting in 3 before the first period ends.
Louisville takes an early lead in the second, but senior attacker Meg Byerly has other plans as she helps retake the lead for Marquette.
The Golden Eagles head into half with a 1-point lead, up 7-6.
The third period is an intense battle as both teams net goal after goal.
But in the fourth, Marquette takes control of the nest.
5 different players score for Marquette to give them the advantage and beat the Cardinals.
Leading the way for the Golden Eagles is Meg Byerly.
The senior attacker scores an impressive 5 goals on the day versus the Cardinals. And after a 2-0 week, 3 women lacrosse players earn Big East weekly honors.
Meg Byerly, Hannah Bodner, and Brianna Nixon are named to the Big East Weekly Honor Roll. Byerly earns Big East Attacker of the Week after her dominant start to the season. The senior attacker scores 9 goals in the past week to take home the honor.
Bodner earns Big East Midfielder of the Week, her first in her career. The senior midi had a 2-way force, securing 4 goals and 4 assists while forcing turnovers.
And Nixon earns Big East Defender of the Week after going 2-0 guarding the net. She posts 11 saves and a .478 save percentage across the first 2 games. Coming up, the women's basketball team sports pink for breast cancer awareness.
And don't forget about our weekly awards. We'll be back after the break.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Hello, and welcome back to Golden Eagles Sports Report. Once again, I'm Layla Hudson.
And I'm Brian Wilson.
On Saturday, men's lacrosse traveled to South Bend, Indiana to face off against the #1 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
The Golden Eagles showed promise early as the third-year Ohio State transfer Matt Caputa finds a goal in the back of the net to tie things up at 1.
Less than 30 seconds later, Caputo buries another goal, this time giving the Golden Eagles the lead.
After a quick response from Notre Dame's Jake Taylor, the Irish begin to pull away, mounting a lead of 6-2 with 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
All hope was not lost for the Golden Eagles as second-year attacker Carson Brandt snipes his beautiful turnaround goal into the back of the Fighting Irish defense.
Carson Brandt and Matt Caputa finished the contest with 3 goals apiece, but fourth-year Marquette midfielder Will Foster chimes in with a goal of his own just before the half.
Notre Dame stayed true to their #1 rank as their defense held strong and only expanded their lead.
This goal from Bobby O'Grady and a late effort from Matt Caputa that completed his hat trick made the 9-22 loss, sitting a little less for the Golden Eagles.
Their next matchup comes in the form of Cleveland State coming to Valley Field on Saturday. On Saturday, Marquette women's basketball faced off against the DePaul Blue Demons at the Al McGuire Center.
DePaul starts off the game hot with junior guard Kate Clark hitting the mid-range shot.
The Golden Eagles respond as second-year forward Skylar Forbes scores 19 in the first half and 26 total on the game.
However, the Blue Demons are persistent in their offensive effort, hitting shots from all over the arc.
To end the closely contested first half, junior guard Kennedy Perkins hits a smooth mid-range jumper.
DePaul comes out of the half firing, with senior forward Jory Allen dominating in the painted area.
Allen finishes the game with a team-high 22 points and 2 blocks.
But Marquette senior guard Jaden Mason took matters into her own hands, converting a crucial fast break.
Mason follows up with a gritty take to the basket, forcing a DePaul timeout and bringing all the energy out in the Al McGuire Center.
Kate Clark and the Blue Demons respond with a layup down the middle of the key.
But that was not enough after Skylar Forbes hits a clutch and 1 bucket to solidify the lead.
The Golden Eagles win the game 82-72, looking prepared for their road trip to Providence.
Marquette put on a show for women's basketball breast cancer awareness and alumni night at the Al McGuire Center. Marquette Wire's own John Kispert has the story.
The Al McGuire Center was covered in pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Night at the women's basketball game versus DePaul. Coaches and players from both teams were decked out in pink shirts, shoes, and other gear to show their solidarity for the cause. Even Iggy was dressed for the occasion, showing out all day in his pink shirt. The game is not only honoring breast cancer awareness, but also the women's basketball team's alumni. President Ayoun honored each alumni with a handshake, round of applause, and a photo uniting every Golden Eagle who was a part of the celebration. Onto the game, Marquette looks to finish their season series 2-0 against the DePaul Blue Demons. The Golden Eagles start off strong as second-year forward Skylar Forbes dominates from 3 and in the paint. Forbes had 19 points in the first half and 26 points total on the game. Despite her highest scoring performance, Forbes credits her teammates for the team's success early on.
Building our chemistry off the court has been a big piece of this, and I think, we all get along really well. We're all the best of friends, so it kind of helps and translates onto the floor.
The Golden Eagles proved to be too much for DePaul, locking down on defense, moving the ball all around the court, and creating high-energy plays like this. Marquette goes on to defeat DePaul 82-72, finding some much-needed momentum as the Big East tournament approaches. In her first year as head coach, Coach Cara Consegra exceeds all expectations and finds something special within her team.
This is the most together and connected team I've ever been around, which is just wild to think about because they've only been together a few months.
Whether it's coming together to spread breast cancer awareness, celebrate alumni, or simply play team-oriented basketball, Marquette prides themselves on working together to accomplish something bigger than the individual. That was on full display at the Al McGuire Center. I am John Kispert, Marquette Wire Sports.
And now for everyone's favorite segment of the week, our GSR Weekly Awards. Our Team of the Week awards goes to none other than the women's lacrosse team. Not only did the team catch fire in their first home win, they are currently on a 2-game win streak, defeating Central Michigan and Louisville in their first 2 official games of the season. Our MVP of the week goes to women's lacrosse star Meg Byerly. In her past 2 games, Byerly scored a combined 9 points on 23 shots on goal. Truly an MVP-worthy performance. Our Rising Star of the Year award goes to the one and only star-studded women's basketball player, Skylar Forbes. In her game against DePaul, Forbes dropped a jaw-dropping 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. She iced the game, shooting 7 for 13 from the field, 3 for 5 from deep, and no doubt made this list. Finally, our 6th Woman of the Year award goes to Shahari Smith. Off the bench, Smith had 9 crucial points to help her team take down the DePaul Blue Demons.
Coming up this week in Marquette Athletics. After a long week of rest, Marquette men's basketball resumes Big East play by hosting the 7-18 Seton Hall Pirates later tonight. This Wednesday, the Providence Friars head to the Al McGuire Center for some Big East women's basketball. The Golden Eagles look to continue their winning ways at home with a Wednesday night victory.
On Thursday, Marquette's women's lacrosse heads on the road to Cincinnati to face off against the Bearcats at 2 p.m. Both basketball teams head back on the road, with the men's squads traveling to play at Villanova on Friday and the women's team heading to D.C. to play Georgetown on Saturday. Men's lacrosse returns home on Saturday to face Cleveland State at noon under the Valley Fields Dome. Finally, the week ends with a women's lacrosse road trip to Ann Arbor, where they will battle the Michigan Wolverines at 11 on Sunday.
And now, we welcome in women's basketball beat reporter Mikey Severson. Thanks for coming on, Mikey.
Absolutely pumped to be here tonight to talk some women's hoops for Marquette.
The women's team is 17-8 on the season and 9-5 in the conference play. They've been playing really good on the season, but will this enough to carry them far throughout March?
Yes, I think they've surpassed initial expectations, but I think the momentum, yes, they will continue to go into March, whether it be the WNIT, long shot at the NCAA tournament still, but I mean, you got Skylar Forbes, Hallie Weiss, and as you mentioned earlier, Sharia Smith coming off the bench, making a real impact there. Same with Jaden Mason as at the starting guard role. Who knows, like, what it was looking to like at the beginning of the season, I feel like. And she's really embraced that inside scoring identity and being the team's offensive engine when I talked to Coach Consegra last month about that.
Yes, they are all very talented players. Which player has stood out for Marquette in terms of production that we, the fans, should look out for come March Madness?
They've all stood out their own ways, but I think, as you guys said earlier at the top of B Block, Skylar Forbes, 26 points. That is a career high for her. She absolutely balled out against DePaul. I mean, 19 points in the first half. That's putting a team on your back, and then the team rallying around her, not having to make her carry the load in the second half, and that just illustrates her versatility too. I mean, she mainly plays the 5, and yet she'll shoot 3 3-pointers. I mean, I talked to her after the game. She said she's pretty confident in her 3-point making ability when it gets going.
Yes, she is a great offensive player. As you have been watching the team closely, this season they seem to have gelled together better since the start of the year. What improvements have you seen from the team on and off the court, and what do they need to improve on moving forward?
I think they really bought into Coach Carrick and Stugger's culture of mentality, of play with heart, and stuff like that. I saw even on social media today, they were like doing Coach Carrick imitations like of what her philosophy is, and that shows that they really bought into it, and that can be evidenced by, I mean, the results. It's coaching results-based business, but I see that as just overall embracing that coaching philosophy to bring that team together. I mean, 6 returners, completely different roles, and 6 newcomers, all transfers, no freshmen. So it's like really interesting to see that really come together. I think Coach Consagra has done a heck of a job.
Yes, you should all check out that video on Instagram. Thank you for your insight, Mikey, but that's all we have for you tonight. Coming up, what's next for Aaron Rodgers? Plus, who will win the 4-nation face-off? Find out after the break.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know. Come alive with the forest. The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
And welcome back to Studio 7 as we discuss the NBA All-Star break and the latest news in professional sports. Joining me on the panel tonight is Layla Hudson and Zach Pominville. Let's get right into it. This past weekend, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association, tried a new format for their All-Star game that included 4 separate teams and 3 untimed games that were played to 40 points. There were many mixed reactions from this game, including from players like Draymond Green and Jaylen Brown. Is this format what they need to continue to do, or do they need to change something up? What do you think, Zach?
Well, I would say it definitely needs to be looked at again. No one really watched this game. I think a lot of people saw highlights, but I don't think many people watched the game. I actually did, and it wasn't the most entertaining. It was kind of just a lot of kind of ads and a lot of breaks in between everything. So, it wasn't the most interesting thing to watch. I would say that, what they really need to do is, a lot of the players have been talking about this, is doing a one-on-one contest. And I think that would be actually incredibly successful. I mean, who doesn't want to watch the best players in the world go 1 versus 1, game to 11, game to 5, 6, 7, whatever it takes. It'd be awesome. It'd improve their ratings tremendously. And I think that's what they need to change it to.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree a little bit. I definitely think it's a step forward. Although Draymond Green said the new format sucks and he rated it as 0 out of 10. But over the years, the players weren't trying and they weren't playing much defense. And a lot of them expressed that this year felt more competitive, actually. So if that's what that takes. But I also agree that we should do a one-on-one.
Yeah, maybe implementation of the both. Keep the game still, but maybe tweak it a little bit so that there's – because that's the thing. The reason why it was competitive is because Victor Wembanyama was actually trying, and he kind of got everyone else to try a little bit too. But past that, there was no real thing that anyone was competing for, so it just kind of seemed like, Steph was doing his thing a bit. He was hitting logo threes, but other than that, it wasn't much more to watch. So.
Yeah, excellent insight from both of you. In a heated rivalry, the United States of America is slated to face off against Canada once again, but this time in the championship game of the Four Nations face-off in Boston, Massachusetts at TD Garden. Both teams are loaded with talent, but who wins this rematch? There was news last night that star forward for the United States, Charlie McAvoy, will not be playing as he has a lower body injury. He was in the hospital last night, and the Bruins released a statement saying that he will not be playing, and they're hopeful that he can return and start when they resume play next week. Is that a crucial loss for Team USA, and can they bounce back?
I personally think USA can bounce back. They had two players that were out, two star players, Brady Tkachuk and then Matthew Tkachuk. And Brady got hurt in the last game, and Matthew was resting. But this Thursday, both of them are supposed to be playing, so I think USA will win because after this loss, I think they'll be more motivated.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think really everyone is pretty excited for this game. U.S. Canada, the first one was insane. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Even though Canada, even the U.S. won the first game, they won their first game. They won Canada. So the last game versus Sweden, losing to Sweden didn't seem like much of anything to me. It seemed more like they were just not really caring as much, and also they did have the injuries. But I did want to say this to every American. Whether you're a sports fan, whether you're just a guy who likes watching U.S. stuff. If you watch the Olympics because it makes you feel patriotic, watch this frickin' game. This game is going to be one of the best, most important games for the next 3 years until the Olympics. So let's get out there. It's in America. They booed our national anthem. I don't care what you think about the country right now. It's U.S. Canada. Let's win this game, boys.
I have a question based off of that. So I think all of us know about the Miracle on Ice. Is this the biggest game in hockey for the United States of America since the Miracle on Ice in 1980 against Russia?
It's bigger.
Bigger.
It's bigger because it means more. They wanted to fight in the first one, so we fought them. And we're going to fight all night. There's going to be blood by the time this game's over, and it's not going to be ours. It's going to be the Canadians. And they're going to be just wishing they never did that. Watch out.
They do have Mick Jesus, a.k.a. Connor McDavid, so we'll see what they'll be able to do. The New York Jets recently announced that they will be moving on from Aaron Rodgers as quarterback after a disappointing 2-year tenure in New York. He was traded from Green Bay to the Jets. What is going to be next for Aaron Rodgers? Will he be on the couch, or will he be starting for maybe the Minnesota Vikings and follow the Brett Favre path? What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? I'm very curious, and I know all the viewers are very curious.
Well, to start us off, I'd just say, it'd be pretty funny if he went for the Vikings, just fully go with the Brett Favre kind of tradition, I guess. A couple teams I did look at. The Colts are an interesting one because the Colts general manager just had a recent statement that he said that it's proven that Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy for all 17 games. It's kind of funny that they might go after Aaron Rodgers after that, But he didn't have the worst season. He was 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. I feel like their season really fell off when they fired Robert Saleh. That was a very questionable firing. They weren't playing as bad as they were playing the rest of the year with him. So really, could they have gotten a winning record? Could they have gone to the playoffs? I guess we'll never know. But I would say Rodgers still has something in the tank. He kind of proved it this year with the 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. But he's probably gonna go for somewhere that needs a quarterback. So Pittsburgh, Giants, Colts, Vikings, something like that.
Thank you. Layla, what do you think?
I think there's a possibility that he might go to another team because athletes like him, I feel like, have such big egos, and he's a very controversial athlete, so I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't retire. But I personally think he should retire, but knowing him, I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, he could just go for the moment, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been fun and discussion, but we're unfortunately out of time. Tune in next week for all of our coverage of Marquette sports and more. I'm Brian Wilson. For Layla Hudson, good night, Marquette.